Hey beauties, I'm back once again, so thanks for coming back and checking on me again. I hope you're a subscriber, and if you're not, make sure you do become a subscriber. But today we are actually going to unveil the big old question and the request that I've always had from people here, there, everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, Snap, on how I do my contour. Now keep in mind, this is genuinely how I do my contour pretty much every day, okay? And I know there's a lot of little products. I know that there's a lot of products, okay? But really, like, I love my contour. Like I do. So if you want to contour like a champ, make sure you tune in and watch what we're about to do right now, because it's going down. Carved, and you're gonna glow. You're gonna shine like a diamond with this highlight. Okay, so let's contour. First and foremost, one of my biggest tips in regards to contouring is a lot of people automatically think that they need to select a powder contour. They have this illusion or this belief that the powder contour and highlight palettes are a lot easier to use. Now, that is true if you normally use, in my opinion, a powder foundation all over the face. But in fact, if you happen to be using any type of liquid cream, any hydrated type or form of complexion, you want to make sure that first and foremost that you realize that it's a lot easier to blend two moisturizing products than it is a moisturizing product and a powder product. Because once you apply a powder product, which is, you know, a contour, highlight, shadow, or palette, to a face that has liquid foundation, that powder initially normally sticks right to wherever it feels liquidy, or, you know, it's just gonna attach, and it's gonna be a very hard blend out. So personally, you really want to have a great cream contour. I think that learning how to contour is a lot more easier when you use any type of cream or liquid contour colors and highlight colors. Just as a side note, just so you know, okay? I love introducing people, because I think a lot of people think that only like really skilled makeup artists are able to use those contour cream colors and so forth, but no. It's a lot easier, and it's a lot easier to teach. And I'm just saying that from my perspective, to teach someone how to contour and highlight using creams, okay? So first and foremost, now that we've gotten that covered, I'm going to use the OCC in the Y4 shade, and as you see, okay, it's a hot mess, so we're not gonna like really like zoom into that, but as you see, it actually doesn't have any orangey shades, because I'm a very olive toned mutt, whatever you want to call it. And what I also do is I like to use this MAC. It's a 191 brush, and it has a very flat chiseled tip. See? And what I do is I take this light shade. Now, when you do your contours, remember, you have to have a transition color. If you are not getting your fleekest out of your contour, it's probably because you're making a very common mistake. I have something on my nose, and it just like feels like it's just going from here to here. I got it. Carrying on. Okay, so make sure you have a transition shade, just as well as when we blend out our eyeshadows and make these great smoky eyes. There's always a transition shade between that brow and that shade, that really high pigmented color, okay? There's that transition, and that's what makes a smoky eye gorgeous, and that's what, you know, really shows someone's artistry. So use a transition shade, and this is where you're going to probably more than likely use some type of bronzer. I particularly believe that the bronzer that you feel best suits your face naturally, like to make you look naturally bronzed, like touched and kissed by the sun, is going to be a great shade to use as your transition shade. So I'm going to map out where my transition. So I am going to map out at this point where I am going to contour my face, where I want it to look, you know, very kissed by the sun for the most part. So normally the rule is applying your bronzer, which is today's going to be called a transition shade, in the areas that the sun kisses you the most on the face. So if you mark your face in a 3, so hairline, you see that 3? Okay, and E. Ooh. This jawline, I'll tell you. Okay, so 3E, and then a lot of the time, just so you know, true bronze wearers will make a W across the face, but we're going to improvise here because we're not really doing this to look bronzy and kissed by the sun. It's just we're using the rules that we use for bronzing. So to contour our nose, we're going to follow the natural shape of our nose from where our eyebrow touches the bridge way at the top, and we're going to pull it down. And you kind of see why I really like this color, because it's very natural looking. Like I easily could be, you know, this color if I sat out in the sun for like 24 hours. So let's see. We want that snatch nose, so we're actually going to take it and cross the bridge. Now, here we go. Here's my next cream. So OCC and one shade above the 4Y, and we're going for our Y5. Gotta speak. Going in and really defining. And I like to do it right in the center, okay? But you really want to keep the darker portion of your pigment towards the back. You don't want to bring that all the way forward, okay? So we're gonna apply just a little bit of a thicker. So I'm actually gonna take this Y5 from the OCC brand, and I'm actually going to just dibble a little bit, and I'm gonna kind of go here and carve out this. Just to kind of give my chin a little more of a shape to it, because I do have a pretty strong jawline for days. So of course naturally we're going to do it in a triangle. The reason why we do it in a triangle is so that it has more of a graduated look to it, so it transitions further down. I'm going to pull this out because I just feel like my highlight will show a lot better when I put my shimmer on. And then same thing with this eye. We don't want circles underneath our eye, even if they're nice and bright. So blending, again, once again, a little bit on the chin. Oh, I can't forget my nose. So a little dot here. I kind of do dots down the nose just because a stripe would be a little too much, I think, product for that. And what I really honestly do from here is I take my Naked Urban Decay Flushed brush. See, it has kind of like a wedged here. Oops, there's some tape in it. And that's when I go in and I kind of start working out the cream contour. Okay, so here's this little cool way that I have learned to kind of get the most usage out of your beauty blender. This beauty blender particularly had a lot of usage on it, and so I cut the domed end of it completely across, and I kind of did my best to kind of trim it to make it nice and smooth. Why I did that is because it's kind of almost a waste to me to utilize just the bottom portion when the sponge itself, and I believe the, you know, just how porous it is, really kind of contributes to the success of the beauty blender. So I mean, I feel like get the most out of it, trim it, and reuse it, and there's nothing wrong with having that flat, you know, kind of edge to it, because it kind of, for me, I feel like it blends and it covers a lot of the area, and it still applies my foundation really well. So that is a really good trick to use, and I'm pretty happy with it. I don't see a really significant difference in any way, shape, or form, but you get the most out of your buck. These things are like 20 bucks a piece. Like, I mean, you use them for a while, but for, you know, sanitation reasons, we want to make sure, or hygiene reasons, we want to make sure like we're changing it out and not, you know, putting old product back on our face through new product like the liquid we're using. So I'm going to take the wedge brush again. And then blend outward. We're, you know, giving it a little oomph. Okay, and so now, because we're going to follow that cream liquid and liquid together, you know, the contour and highlight with our liquid foundation. Now, in order to set it and really get some definition, because this is a nice, subtle, everyday, like, oh, you know, I woke up like this look. But, you know, if we're going glam, especially with an eye like this, we want a little more oomph to our, you know, look, a little more definition. So what I'm going to do is, I like to combine some of this loose powder by Inglot. And you know, it just has a little bit of like a tone to it, and honestly, I don't know, this is what the back says. I know that there was a few options when I went in and I picked this out, but for the most part, I take this, and then I also take my air spun, and what I do is I dump a little bit of the Inglot into here, and they make a baby, and I shake it up. I am going to use my Sephora Gel Serum Concealer, okay? And this concealer is in a 04, and I think it's buttermilk. And with this serum, you have to make sure, serum concealer, it's really hydrating. It's really great for a mature eye. And because I am not no spring chicken, and that ain't no secret, I'm going to actually apply this in a dotting motion, because you do not want to use this formula in a sweeping motion at all, because you're going to totally mess up the overall result that you're trying to aim for when you're using this product. So we're going to dot dot. And because this is such a lighter shade, and I do this as well, I go down and then I okay, blend, So I'm going to just go in with the remaining amount, you know, that's on the brush, because I know this is a little bit of that Y4 and 5 together. And I just want to re-emphasize what I was contouring. Now I'm actually going to start baking. Okay, and then I'm going to go here and just drag it. Okay. And then here, and just a kind of fluffy brush here. And I'm going to lightly go over my entire face to set it. And you're like, oh my God, why did you do that? There's a reason why. Because I'm going to go in and I'm going to redefine my contour so that it's a little more, you know, powerful. I want to see a really defined shadow along, you know, my cheekbone area. So now that we've applied that translucent powder, I'm going to go in with a powder contour palette, the Lorac one, love it. And I'm going to actually get into this medium one, okay? I'm just gonna dab a little bit on that brush, like so, not a whole lot. And then I'm also going to tap it to get rid of the excess powder on the tips, so that once I make contact with my face, I'm not gonna have a big old blob of product sitting in one spot. Even though now that we've set it with a translucent powder, it's just going to make the blending aspect a lot easier now that we're putting powder on top of powder, because they blend a little bit better together. They dance, they do the tango a lot better. This is one shade, and I'm gonna just kind of up the ante just a little bit, and I'm gonna go very super lightly into the deepest shade that they have available in that contour palette. The brush that I actually am going to use is a deluxe crease brush. This is actually by Crown Brushes in number C200, and I'm going to use this shade here for the direct center of my bridge. Now I'm going to use the softest tone here, and I'm going to gently cover the tips of the brush, shake off the excess, and come with it all the way down. Okay, and now it's time to blend. So blending, for this, I'm actually going to use this cool little brush here that is also from Crown Brushes. It's a pointed blender. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to sculpt out my face now. Now, one of the best little tips I can tell you when you come to the contouring part of your makeup routine is you want to basically pretend like you're really sculpting something out of clay when you use, when it comes to your strokes. So, you don't want to go back and forth real harsh. You just kind of want to go with the flow and kind of stretch out the product. Okay, so my highlight on my forehead is just in this area here, really softly. Again, I can easily go into the beige highlight and kind of help define that contour a little bit more by going under, carving it out just a little, and kind of making sure that it transitions really softly and narrowly. Here we go. And then, of course, down the bridge of the nose, on the tip of the nose, and then there we go. So of course, naturally, it's every makeup junkie's like cherry on top to add highlight. Why is that like the icing on the cake for everything? You know, cake, icing. Oh, that makes sense. That's good. Now for the base of my highlight, because I like a very soft sheer highlight and then a dramatic one right in the middle, I'm going to use this Too Faced Rosy Glow Duo. They just came out with this. I got this as a present. Shout out Fake Face. Good looking out. And what I do normally is I use the candlelight side with my fan brush, and I go along and I kind of have like a little soft application. Be very soft, very soft, very soft. Same on this side. Get you a nice little pigment showing. Okay, and down the bridge of the nose. Very lightly, like just barely let the tips of the brush touch the area down the bridge of the nose. Okay, and then highlight on top. All right, and then I'm gonna go into the pink shade here, and I like to use it as a middle tone between the contour and the highlight, because in reality, I'm about to put a little bit of blush right there. And then I don't like to use a whole lot of blush. I'm just not a big blushy kind of girl, but I do every year get this palette because it comes out every holiday so far. Nars makes an amazing cheek palette, and this is the Stephen Klein Nars cheek palette, and I'm actually going to use this very pretty little shade here. So Blasphemy is this very faint little rosy color here, and I am only going to apply it right in the back area of this cheekbone. I am going to use the Becca Jaclyn Hill highlight, okay? And same thing, I'm actually going to use the Pearl, and I'm only going to dab it in a little bit because I'm going to put it right here. And right here. Okay, and right here. I want to look like I'm like neon glowing with this highlight. I mean, there's no reason why you can't. I want to glow. I want to be sparkly. I want to be like a big piece of glitter. I also like to take this, I believe it's like blush chopper, and I actually like to kind of dibble in it just a little bit. Okay, donuts. It's so pretty. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, this one too. All right, so that's a wrap. hopefully you loved what just went down here, okay? Because I really think that, you know, some of those tips and tricks like kind of get missed and jumped over and so forth with some of the other tutorials that I've watched, because naturally I watch other people and I love to watch other people because I like to look at their teaching methods, because I didn't learn how to be myself until I saw Crispy and her YouTube channel and how she just decided that she was just gonna be crispy. So for the most part, hopefully you learned a little bit. Hopefully you caught on to a couple of those tips and tricks. Hopefully you can share it with somebody to help them elevate their artistry, and hopefully you come back and see me. But most importantly, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like, that thumbs up, okay? Please, okay? And then if you're not a subscriber, come and subscribe, okay? And then as well, don't forget to comment, okay? Comment. I read them. I like them. I like to talk to people, so I want to hear your feedback. So if you have any suggestions or comments, you know, compliments, try not to be mean, okay? There's too many mean people in the world. Let me hear it, okay? So thanks for coming back and seeing me. Until we beauty again next time together, I'll see you later, beauties. But I'm working on it. But check this beat. It's like a shame that I gotta wipe it the fuck off because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And my husband is probably hating me right now because I just took over the bedroom over this shit.